Hi, in today's video we're going to build this bench. We're going to walk you through the steps that I did to build it. I didn't have any plans, but we'll wing it as we go. Hope you enjoy. For my first workbench build, I'm going to be starting with a birch workbench top, which I purchased from Woodcraft on sale for $149.99. It's 1.5 inches thick and measures 27 inches by 60 inches. Originally I was going to make it all by scratch, but I thought this would be a good start. Now let's just see what it looks like. Looks like just slightly damaging this one corner. Not too bad. So it does have a top side, which is a little bit nicer than the bottom side. So this is what I'm going to start with. I have two vices, which I bought like over 2 years ago from Rockler, and with the intention of building this bench once I got into this new home with the RV garage that I'm using as a dedicated woodworking shop. Now, because it's 1.5 inches, I think I'm going to put a spacer piece underneath each vise just to have the vise opening or the vise depth to be a little bit deeper. As far as the skirt here, I was debating whether to do it on the outside or on the inside. I think I'm going to do it on the inside, mainly because it's 27 inches already. I don't need it to be any wider than that. So in order to get past the top of the vise, I think that piece needs to be at least 3.5 inches. See if it's the same thing with this one. Yeah, this one probably be better at 4 inches. Because of the vise, especially this end vise, I can't really put anything across this way on the top, so I'm going to be building the legs this way with this on this side, the skirt, to be even with the edge. On that side, I'm going to bring it in at least 2 inches just to have a little bit of clamping area. So I figure over here I'll do a 2-inch lip over here, and then a 3-inch blade brings us to 5. Over here, I'm probably going to go right to the end. So basically, this piece will have to be 55 inches, and maybe I'll go with 4 inches, so 55 length, so I'll need 2 pieces like that. On the other side, it doesn't have to be 4 inches. I can do 3 inches or something, but anyway, so I'll need one piece 55 by 4 inches and another piece 55 by, say, 3 inches. As I said, the legs I plan to do 3 inches, so I'll figure that out. But I think I'll just start with these cross pieces. Okay, I'll start by cutting pieces. This is rough lumber, maple, so we'll just cut it roughly just a little over 55. Next step, we'll start milling these pieces. Milling the edge. Okay, now I'm just going to plane those two boards as well as other material that I have, all to 1.5 inches, so it'll be ready to go when I need it. Planed down to 1.5 inches. This grizzly planer with the helical spiral head, cutter head, does a really nice smooth job. I don't know if you can see it in the video. Now I'm going to cut the pieces for the stretchers to 55 inches, or sorry, 3.5 inches. Set my Jessom stock guides first for the thickness of the wood. Next, set the fence to 3.5 inches. Saw blade probably needs a little bit of new sharpening. This might be my red cut blade. But anyways, I'll pass it through the jointer one time just to clean it up. So I've cut 4 stringers at 55 inches. After doing it, I discovered I'd made a mistake there. It really should have been 58 inches. So instead of having a 2-inch lip over here, I'll have a 5-inch lip. Mainly because I just don't have any more 8/4 lumber to redo it, but I think it's going to work out because after having the 3-inch legs on each side, I'll have about 49 inches, which will be perfect with 48-inch plywood when I make the cabinet below. I think that'll work out. Now to join this, I guess I could just glue it. You could do pocket holes if that's what you have. You could do dowels. I do have a Domino 500, so I'm going to use dominoes. So I'm just going to mark where the dominoes will be, just for alignment. Say 2 inches from each end. Then half of 55, about 27.5. And then half of that. Got 25.5, so a little over 12.5. It's not that, it's not to be so accurate. So just next I'll take the domino out. I've installed the largest bit that the Domino 500 will take. It's a 10mm bit. And for this size of domino, the depth I've set to 25mm. And then the offset, I guess, is 36, which will be roughly half of the 1.5 inches. So let's give it a try. Okay, let's try a dry fit. Looks pretty good. Okay, I've cut out 2 vice spacer blocks, and I guess I'll now glue them down. Before taking the vices apart, I did mark the front and left and right on the quick release pieces. Same markings for the large vise, just a little bit of marking for the front and the left and right on the quick release pieces. Okay, I've cut the lubber for the legs, length of 32.5. Now I'm just going to cut them to width at 3 inches. The first piece wasn't quite wide enough to do 3 inches for 2 pieces due to the curve of the blade, so it's just going to be an 1/8 under 3 inches. For the legs, to have them a little bit beefy, my intent was to have 3 by 3 inch legs, but instead of just fully gluing 2 1.5 inch pieces to make 3 and then do mortises, I decided just to do it in pieces. So the bottom, basically I made blocks 3.5 inches. Just figure it's something like a kitchen toe kick. So I'm going to glue these on, and then later the bottom stretchers will go out, and then we'll build it up to the top stretcher, and then overall it'll be 3 inches thick. The next step, I'm going to add the front stretchers to the bottom of the legs. So that's one set of legs finished. I'll do the next one. Now let's install the front vise. Initially tried taking it apart from the front, but I couldn't get it off for some reason, so try the back. That worked. As mentioned before, I did mark these parts, so I'll know which way they go. And just place the mounting to where I think it will go. And then mark the holes for the guide rods. Next we'll be drilling the holes. I believe it's supposed to be a 7/8 inch bit for the smaller side vise. Just as a side note, if you notice which side I'm putting the vise on, traditionally would be put on the other side, but because I'm left-handed, I'm putting it on this side. So if you're making a similar bend and you're right-handed, you'd want to put it on the opposite side. So here I'll drill the holes for this side stretcher and the front face for the vise at the same time, so they're perfectly aligned. So just have to make sure they get set properly. And then we'll go to the drill press. With everything clamped down, let's drill the first hole. And I'll set up for the next two holes. Just finish drilling the holes. Now I'll move to the end vise. Now let's do the same for the large front vise. Mark the holes. Ready for drilling. Okay, for the large vise, just drilling a 1 1/8 hole for each of the guide rods. Next is to attach this. Obviously there's lots of options. I could put screws and fill it in, but I guess I'll do dominoes for that again. So I'll just mark that. One here, and I guess So in order to do this, have the registration for here, and then I'll flip the table over to do the tabletop. Drill the dominoes, let's see how it fits. Just put 2 for now. Fit is pretty good. Let's flip the table back. Now let's just glue the side apron, stretcher, whatever you want to call it, and the end piece. A little challenging, but it's all clamped up. For the back side, I prepared the top stringer. Just going to connect with a couple of dominoes for here, and then instead of doing any fancy joinery, I'm just going to screw it down to the top. So I prepared the holes for that ahead of time. Next step is to put the side stretchers on. There's one side done. There we go with the second stringer. Now, I did decide to do an end piece over here. So let's just put this end piece on. So I just want to glue to the leg only, not to the front. So I've decided to not glue the base down to the top. I'm gonna use some screws in order that it could come off in the future. So I'll have some screws to screw this part in. Then this part can be screwed down, and the same with the other posts or leg and this other face over here. So let's get to that. Start with this corner. Just 2.5-inch screws. Okay, the next step is just to fill this in. That's why all the legs are going to look like 3 by 3. Let's do that next. So I cut the 4 pieces for the filler, and we can install them. I could put glue at one end, but not the tabletop end, because the tabletop would be removable. All 4 done. The glue is all finished. Now it's just a matter of sanding. Just fill some of the cracks, and then when that's dry, we'll sand again. Now we'll do the final sanding. Before installing the vices, I'm going to do a couple of coats of clear finish, everything but the top. The top I'm going to use Danish oil so it's not so slick. At the vice faces I will be putting a cork on it, so I don't want to do this part. We'll start with the smaller front vise. Apply the contact cement. Okay, let's start installing the vices. I'll start with the smaller front vise. Another quick release. I had marked them before, left and right, so I know how to put them in. Looks like it's in place. I'll use a self-centering bit just to pre-drill a hole. Okay, I'm using a 1/4 inch, 1.5 inch hex bolts. Next would be putting back the back plate on. Using the hex bolts. Okay, so next is attaching the screws to the front parts. For the front, again, using self-centering drill bit. And then I have these number 12, 1.25 inch screws. Lastly is the handle that comes with it. You just have to hold it because it's upside down right now. Hopefully with gravity it'll work the way it's supposed to. And that's it for the front smaller vise. Okay, so now we'll do the end vise, the larger vise, which basically the same procedure. Release again, marked right and left, so which way it goes. Guess I put the end plate on now. pre-drill the self-centering bit for the lag bolts. Now for the last of 8 lag screws. Next, I'll pre-drill the 4 holes for the screws to hold the front part. Next is to find somebody to help me flip it over and work on the top. Here's the bench flipped over. As mentioned before, I have the vise on the right side because I'm left-handed. If you're right-handed, you'd likely want to put it on the left side and at the same time swap the end vise to the other end. Quick release vices. Next step is to figure out the placement of the dog holes. From what I hear, you should start with minimum and then add as needed. I'm not really that much of a hand tool person. I use mostly power tools, so we just need some of the whole material down. Off camera, I took the time to figure out my dog hole placement. So for the end vise, I just decided to do 4 inches from each end, and then 6 inches from those. So 4, and then 6. And then from the end here, I started with 4 inches and then did 8 inches from each one to here. So I'll have the 4 rows. Over here on the front vise, I just went basically from the center of the vise here. I just took 5 inches and 5 inches, and then going in again 4 inches here. And then I just did the 8 inches again. So I think that'll be plenty of dog holes for what I need. So next I'll take a punch to start the holes and then use the drill. There, they're all center punched. Next step is to drill. To drill the 3/4 inch bench dog holes, I'm using this Woodall speed bit. I've read that it does a very clean hole. Initially, for the vise faces, I'm just going to drill the depth of these, not all the way through because they're quite thick. So I've set the bit height to stop at this length, using this Rockler drill guide. Pretty perfect. Okay, the rest of the holes will go all the way through. Just take off the stops. But most of the bench is just 1.5 inches, so it won't be a problem, except the piece that I put where the vices are. Now with all the holes drilled, I'm just going to do a little chamfer in each hole, using the chamfer bit. Looks good. Now I'll just do a final sand to get rid of the pencil marks, and we'll get ready to do the final finish with the Danish oil. Do the final finish sanding on the top. Okay, now it's time to apply the top finish, which is, like I said before, Danish oil, one-step finish. Okay, well the can says to recoat after 15 minutes, so I'll just wait for this to dry. Okay, next I'm going to make some holes on the side just to support some longer pieces. First one I'll make around even with the vise. And just a few of them down. Start with that. Next, just add a little chamfer to the edges. Here's a completed workbench. As mentioned, I'm left-handed, so therefore I put the front vise at this end. If you're right-handed, you'll want to put it at this end, and at the same time you'll take the end vise and put it at the other end. I had no plans when I initially built this, so therefore I just winged it as I went. Now that it's completed, I'll try to make some diagrams and put some measurements in case somebody wants to make something similar. It is fairly simple joinery, the way that I did the legs and everything. I did have a domino, but that's not necessary. You could do it with pocket hole screws, dowels, or any other joinery. This will be part one of a two-part series. The first part being this video, building the bench. Part two will be building a cabinet below. Once that video's done, I'll publish it as a part 2 video of this workbench build. Well, thank you for watching. I hope somebody gets something out of it, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.